Good evening and welcome to BATV News. I'm Andrew Laidley. Transport and Mining Minister Mike Henry says the official transfer documents for 7 special exploration and processing licenses previously held by Oz Minerals have been handed over to Carube Copper, a corporation out of Canada. Here's more. Last September, Oz Minerals announced it was ceasing operations in Jamaica. The leading Australian mining company entered into a heads-of agreement to transfer all interests in Jamaica to Carube Copper Corp, its JV partner in the island. Fast forward several months later, Mining Minister Mike Henry is confirming that Carube Copper now has 100% ownership of 11 licenses, covering approximately 535 square kilometers in Jamaica. According to Minister Henry, Carube Copper can now move forward with aggressive exploration programs of the flagship Bellas Gate project in Clarendon. He says Carube Copper has a $14 million data package at its disposal from Oz Minerals, plus a 1.6 million Canadian dollars financing to immediately kickstart its operations in Jamaica. The mining minister says the company will be embarking on drilling explorations for copper and possible gold over a wide range of areas from Henley to Provost, Simon, Geo Hill, Camel Hill, Lucky Valley, Charlie, Upper Ginger Hill, and Connors. However, then CEO of Oz Minerals exploration activity in Jamaica, Andrew Coles, noted that one of the reasons the company ceasing operations is because the drill intersected grades weren't indicative of the types of deposits the company is looking for. Consequently, the company decided not to invest further in the program. Nevertheless, President and CEO of Carube Copper, Jeff Ackert, says after an in-depth analysis and interpretation of all the new geophysical, geochemical, and geological mapping data and drilling information collected, he is pleased with the incredible quality of the targets that are now ready for drilling at Bellas Gate. He says the data indicates that significant copper and gold porphyry systems exists at Bellas Gate. Government Senator Don Webby is proposing an amnesty for the collection of property tax arrears in order to allow for the persons to get regularized. He says an amnesty for the collection of tax arrears similar to the one done to outstanding traffic tickets should be pursued to get persons to regularize their status. Senator Webby was making his contribution to the debate on the Property Tax Act amendments in the Senate on Friday. Senator Webby said other measures that can also help to increase property tax collection include regular performance monitoring, conditioning property tax payments with other services such as vehicle registration, and providing incentives for staff to meet collection and enforcement targets. Senator Webby noted that there are a number of relief mechanisms in place for persons having difficulties in fulfilling their tax obligations and urged them to make use of these facilities. He further encouraged persons who feel that their property was not assessed for a fair value to lodge an objection with the Commissioner of Land Valuations to have their concerns addressed. Meanwhile, Senator Webby urged local authorities to improve transparency by producing annual reports and being more open with residents about how their property tax is spent. This, he argued, will promote trust and influence persons to pay their taxes on time and in full. He said that once property tax compliance is at a substantial level, the government can look at reducing the rates. Project manager for the Tourism Linkages Network, Carolyn MacDonald Riley, says there are a lot of benefits to be had from endorsing Carnival in Jamaica. She says the ministry is looking to expand it to other parts of the island soon. Tanika Bennett reports.
Carolyn MacDonald Riley says surveys are to be done to find out the impact from the just concluded Carnival season on the economy.
But there's a lot to be gained from getting behind Carnival from the government perspective in terms of selling to our people to say, look, you don't have to be jumping Carnival to benefit. You can be selling food, you can be making costumes, you can be a musical engineer, there is shopping. When the tourists come, they're not, or even locals alike. I mean, people shop at events. So there are lots of things that happen. It's not just about jumping.
Mrs. MacDonald Riley says the ministry decided to market the event as there are many benefits to gain. She says there are plans to expand the Carnival project outside of Kingston.
The Ocho has its own carnival. There used to be downtown carnival, so hopefully some of those will be revived. Right. So we'll be expanding, but I don't think to a shutdown of the country because everybody must coexist, right? Like I know on a Sunday people have to go to church and go back home.
Or ride bicycles.
Or people have to ride bicycles like Dennis. So we intend to take it to a higher level. We want to see much more persons on the street, both participating and watching the parade because of the economic effects.
Yeah,
but it will not be to the exclusion of persons going about their daily business.
In the meantime, the Linkages Network project manager says the Tourism Ministry will be rolling out other initiatives this year.
Carnival is one of the products that the initiatives that we are behind. We are going to be behind all the other initiatives in terms of Reggae Month. We have a whole program to roll out, and there are lots of other activities that we will be supporting. It's just that Carnival is the first. And I think the biggie is to have 4 bands under one roof saying Carnival in Jamaica. It was no easy feat to get it quickly organized, but it happened, and I think that's big news. So it has made the big news. But we intend to work closely with all the other entertainment partners. So,
for BATV News, I am Tanika Bennett.
Still to come, Carib Cash to boost competition in the microfinance sector. The details after the break. Welcome back. President of the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce, Larry Watson, says Carib Cash will boost competition within the microfinance sector. He says with more competition comes lower rates. Mr. Watson was speaking at the official media launch of the Carib Cash last Friday. Nordia Francis Williams reports.
The JCC president welcomed the new microfinance company, indicating that Carib Cash has come on board at a time when growth prospects are many.
I believe the timing of Carib Cash coming to Jamaica is opportune. Jamaica is the 8th country which this company is opening in. The 9th will be Guyana. And it is opportune because the Jamaican economy is looking up. It's looking good. And when you have competition in a sector, it brings down rates, it brings momentum, and it's always positive.
He says Carib Cash has agreed to abide by anti-money laundering legislations, which is before Parliament now, as it will help the company to establish a good reputation.
As it relates to the banking industry, it may be a newer type of organization, but certainly it shows that it is being taken seriously. Also, I know there's legislation in Parliament to bring about legislation for the microfinance industry. And I know that the CEO has indicated to me that he welcomes it because the legislation will protect them against money laundering, and it will ensure that they develop the respect that they deserve, and they will be able to move forward.
Mr. Watson says Carib Cash signed on to the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce as soon as the company came to Jamaica, and the JCC fully endorses the company.
There are a number of microfinance businesses in Jamaica, and whenever you go into a market, you seek to make your niche and to plow your path. And I just want to say that the support that you have from the Chamber and all the other members and the people here today, on behalf of the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce, I would like to wish you all, your newly to-be Chief Executive Officer, and everybody all the best.
For BATV News, I'm Nordia Francis Williams.
CEO of Jamaican Teas, John Mahfood, says continued growth is expected for the rest of the year. He was speaking at the company's annual general meeting held recently. Anthony Morgan reports.
John Mahfood says for the first quarter of 2017, company sales were up by 8.5%.
Profit before tax, after tax, and this includes the discontinued operations. So the profit after tax was up 25%, and I believe those results will continue. Those types of results will continue for the rest of the year. And that's a big part of that is for is the result of getting out of the loss-making supermarkets.
He says the second quarter ending in March also showed improved sales, with more growth expected through its new product listings in Kroger supermarkets in the United States.
Where the total sales increased 38%, export sales went up really significantly, 47%. And we have on the horizon the fact that we were just listed in 445 Kroger supermarkets in the States with 5 of our products. So that was a pretty important achievement for us.
In the meantime, Mr. Mahfood says the company has resumed paying dividends to its stockholders. He says they also completed the purchase of shares in Kingston Industrial Wharves, KIW, this month.
That was in April. So the results for the second quarter won't reflect anything relating to that acquisition. It cost us $57 million. And as you know, KIW, some of you will know, it was a public company. It was a very significant manufacturing business many years ago. But as the sugar industry declined and so on, their fortunes declined because they were tool-making company.
For BATV News, I'm Anthony Morgan.
An export program is to be developed for small and medium-sized businesses to assist with enhancing the global competitiveness of these entities. This was disclosed by President of the Jamaica Exporters Association, JEA, Michelle Chong, who said the program is expected to be launched before the middle of the year. She says there will be a full-fledged export curriculum to take small businesses from where they are now to the heights of export. The curriculum is to be developed by the JEA in collaboration with the Jamaica Manufacturers Association, Jamaica Business Development Corporation, Jamaica Promotions Corporations, JAMPRO, and the Exim Bank. Ms. Chung noted that this initiative was being undertaken in an effort for businesses to work together as a team to compete in the global marketplace and not amongst themselves. She noted that in this new global world with new ways of doing things, small business owners need to adjust their strategies, embrace innovation, and work together to build the industry. Mrs. Chong was addressing a packaging and labeling workshop hosted by the JEA in St. Andrew on Friday. And stay with us, regional and international stories are next. Welcome back. It's time now for regional and international news. Come December, U.S. carrier JetBlue will add a non-stop service from Orlando to the Haitian capital, Port-au-Prince. The airline says pending regulatory approval, the route will be serviced by one of its 100-seat jet. JetBlue says seats are expected to go out for sale in the coming weeks. The new route is JetBlue's fourth to Haiti. The airline already flies to the French-speaking Caribbean country from its bases at New York's John F. Kennedy International, Boston, and Fort Lauderdale airports. JetBlue's Vice President for Network Planning, John Checketts, says the new service is a strategic move. JetBlue says service between Orlando and Port-au-Prince will provide a valuable link between Haiti's capital city and many communities in Central Florida that currently lack non-stop flights from their closest major airport. Meanwhile, Haiti's Minister of Tourism, Jesse Menos, says he is fully on board with the new service, which he expects will benefit Haitians at home and abroad. The new Haiti route comes as JetBlue has increasingly stepped up its presence in the region in the past decade. The airline says it operates nearly a third of its capacity in the Caribbean and Latin America. As Venezuela struggles with shortages, thousands of residents are crossing over to the border to Colombia to buy diapers, food, and medicine. Al Jazeera's Teresa Bow reports from Colombia.
Andreina Pereira tries to come to Colombia from over the border in Venezuela every few weeks to buy basic products. She travels for 13 hours to buy some food and diapers for her child.
Horrible. Malísima. The situation is horrible. We can't find what we need, and if we do, we can't afford it. We have to wait in line for hours, and then when they run out, you wasted the whole day. We can't even eat like we used to.
She's not carrying much money, around $20 to buy what she needs for the days to come. In Venezuela these days, there are shortages of almost everything. The government cannot pay to import goods because it's strapped for cash after a drop in oil prices and heavy government spending.
What's happening on this bridge is an example of the enormous economic crisis in Venezuela right now, with thousands of people coming from Venezuela to Colombia to buy diapers, food and medicine. They claim that this is the only way they have to cover some of their basic needs.
Those coming here need to get a good exchange rate. On that will depend how much they can take back. Orlando Churon claims he's changing money to try to get medicines for his wife.
My wife has cancer. I come from Valencia and there are no medicines for cancer there. This is chaos. We are desperate and there's a lot of people like me.
For weeks, Venezuelans have been taking to the streets to demand elections and respect for Venezuelans' institutions after the government stripped the opposition-controlled Congress of its last powers. Even though the decision was reversed, many in the country say they have had enough. The Venezuelan government says the protests are organized by the extreme right, who is trying to destroy Hugo Chávez's socialist revolution. On Saturday, Nicolás Maduro published this video, where he said he's getting ready for the victories to come. Many believe the government may be considering to call for long-delayed local elections.
We are working so that the dialogue with the Vatican continues with the international community to control the violence from mercenary groups hired to create chaos, criminal gangs that want to practice terrorism. In Venezuela, there is peace.
Most of those coming here have lost faith in the government's ability to improve their lives. In the meantime, they claim, they have to keep on going and trying to take back as much as they can. Teresa Bo, Al Jazeera, Cúcuta, Colombia.
Canada's Quebec province produces 80% of the maple syrup consumed around the world, largely through a strict system of quotas and price controls. But some farmers who want to opt out are facing huge fines. Here's more.
Okay. It takes icy cold nights and warm spring days to make the maple trees flow, with the sap that Harold and Nicole Varin turn into maple syrup. Now Nicole's defiance of Quebec's strict syrup cartel has them facing huge fines and worrying that their daughter may never have a chance to run the family business.
Next year it's gonna make 100 years that Varin is in this land, so it's very important. I made this fight to give her freedom. When we start, we were free. Okay, la couleur elle change là, hein?
Most of the liquid syrup they make is sold by law to Quebec's Agricultural Federation, which controls the market. But Nicole also makes maple candy and other sweets to sell independently. That's landed her and dozens of other small producers in expensive legal battles.
I think it's up to the Federation to take the leadership to find a solution, because it just doesn't make sense for small producers like that to be sued by their own federation for $500,000.
The Federation buys almost all syrup produced in Quebec and negotiates market prices. Some is set aside here in what's called the World Strategic Reserve, tens of millions of liters stored in high-security warehouses as a buffer to keep prices stable. The Federation says it has to fight people like Nicole Varin for the good of all producers.
At the end, if those producers are making living out of not following the rules, other producers are going to say, oh, they are doing so, I will do so. And at the end, the rules won't work because nobody's going to follow them.
For now, at least, most producers in Quebec support the way their product has been handled. They say that's why their market is growing and they're tapping more maple trees and producing more syrup.
This pumping station, they call it a relâcheur.
That's certainly the feeling here at Norm Urbain's maple syrup operation. He's expanding, installing electronic monitoring on the pipes that collect the sap. He says he wouldn't be in business if it weren't for the strict rules he follows.
20 years ago, there was no future in this industry. people were cutting their maples down because there was no value for maple syrup. And now everybody wants to get into the bandwagon. Something must have been done right.
Those who are fighting the Federation in Quebec say they're prepared to take their battle to the Supreme Court of Canada. Others say a system that has led to local syrup dominating the world market is well worth keeping.
So good. C'est bon.
Daniel Lack, Al Jazeera, Oka, Quebec.
Promoted by celebrities, hair extensions are high in demand, and much of the human hair used to make them comes from China. In one province, the hair collection and processing industry is worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Al Jazeera's Andrew Thomas reports from eastern China.
In a village in central China, Wan Shu Hua is having a haircut, one she's being paid for, $115 to sell her hair.
I feel quite emotional, but I've got other priorities now. I've got grandchildren.
The lady collecting her hair does about 500 cuts a year, travelling the countryside to find women and girls willing to sell.
This isn't the first time that Wan Xiaohua has had her hair cut off, but the last time she sold her hair was almost 2 decades ago. It's taken that long to get this long again.
The hair ends up in this market, where prices for ponytails are haggled over according to weight, colour and quality. Then it's on to a hair processing factory. Here the hair is detangled, cleaned and combed. Though we're not allowed to film it, some hair is also dyed or plunged into bleach to make it blonde.
Girls don't just sell their hair for money. Some just want a new hairstyle. But the money is helpful. One haircut is enough to buy a lot of makeup.
Around the town of Taihe, hair processing employs 100,000 people. 700 work in this factory alone, using hair from 500,000 women and girls. They make 1.5 million hair extensions a year.
Sometimes I think, the hair is so long. I wonder how many years it took to grow this long.
The hair extensions are exported to salons like this one in Sydney, Australia. The salon, Hair by Ash, does about 10 extensions a week. Emily Miller first got extensions a few years ago. She says longer hair makes her feel great.
It gives me like an alter ego, it just makes me like more confident. I don't really think about where they come from now, but when I bought them from the salon, they assured me that it's sort of all fair trade and it's all sort of legal. So yeah, as long as I know that's the case, then I'm fine with it.
Emily Miller loves her new look. Wan Shu Hua does not. But she knew what she was doing, and she thinks she got a fair price. What's not possible to know, though, is whether there was coercion behind any of these. Was every grower so willing to cut a deal? Andrew Thomas, Al Jazeera, Taihe, China.
Talking Stocks is after the break. Welcome back. It's time now for Talking Stocks. 48 stocks traded today, of which 27 advanced, 13 declined, and 8 traded firm. The main JSE index advanced by 1,005 points to close at over 229,000 points. The junior index also advanced by 52 points to close at more than 3,000 points. Over 3 million units traded, valued at over $27 million on the Jamaican dollar market. And on the US dollar market, 760 units traded, valued at $228 US. Cable and wireless with over 1 million units changing hands accounted for 29% of the market volume. Lasco Manufacturing was second with 583,000 units trading. Lasco Distributors accounted for over 272,000 units, amounting to 7% of the market volume crossing the floor. C2W Music was a top advancer, up 4 cents to close at 37 cents, followed by 1834 Investments, up 14 cents to close at $1.64, and Berger Paints up $1.18 to close at $14.93. The main decliners were Jamaica Stock Exchange, down 27 cents to close at $8.15, followed by Radio Jamaica losing 4 cents to close at $1.75, and Caribbean Cement Company down 55 cents to close at $31.25. And in foreign exchange trading, the US dollar ended the day selling for $128.96 against the Jamaican dollar. The Canadian went for $96.24, while the British pound closed the day at $164.77 on average. And that's the news for this evening, but before we go, a recap of our top story. Mining Minister Mike Henry has confirmed that Karube Copper now has 100% ownership of 11 licenses to mine in Clarendon. Thanks for watching. For more content, visit our website at batvja.com. I'm Andrew Laidley. Pleasant viewing.